primary trainer. Now the SNJ, and the also known by the Army Air Force as the AT-6, the Advanced Trainer number 6, that was the last airplane that pilot trainees would fly before getting their wings. Well, right before us here, as you see on the screens here, is the PT-17 primary trainer known as the Cadet. Built in the 1930s by Lloyd-Stearman, and Boeing Aircraft Company took over production back, I believe, in I want to say P-40 Tomahawk, built by Curtiss Aircraft, with the Allison V12 engine in it. Look at those wheels going up to the outside. Tugging it into the fuselage. And now just lifting off, built by Republic Aircraft Company up on Long Island, the P-47 Thunderbolt. And on the roll right now, we see the P-51 Mustang. As we're looking at the heritage aircraft on the screen from the Air Force, there's the F-15 Eagle. And now we are in our history of flight demonstration. Jim Beasley is flying the P-51 Mustang. He's an attorney from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've got B's maiden name was Beasley, and Jim and I are trying to figure out if maybe somehow we're related. But from the slowest of the Air Force and Air Corps aircraft, which is the PT-17, flew with a 225 horsepower engine at about 110 miles an hour, all the way up to another North American aircraft taking off, the B-25 Missile Bomber. On the roll, following that, the heavy bomber that made such a mark on aircraft, known initially as the Boeing Model 299, became the B-17 Heavy Bomber. The B-17 with a crew of 10. The B-25 Missile Bomber with a crew of 5 or 6. As Kevin Russo comes by in his AT-6 SNJ trainer, actually delivered to Naval Air Station Pensacola, Florida, right at the end of the war. On the roll and lifting off now. If you look straight out in front of you, you see Kevin Russo, and taking off out in front of him, the C-47 Goonie Bird, known by some as the Goonie Bird of the Dakota or the Skytrain. The P-47 overhead. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just be quiet and let you all listen to this piston-powered music of Air Force heritage. I'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes. Built Rolls-Royce designed Merlin engine of the Mustang. Touching down with a 225 horsepower Continental engine on it, or a Jacobs, or a Lycoming, be a PT-13, 17, or 18, that is the Cadet, the Stearman. Actually noisier than the B-17 because of the short exhaust stack. Coming across show center, here comes the B-17. There were 14,000 P-40s built at $45,000 a piece in 1944.
have one eye sometimes. You have to be looking straight forward. That's the big one right here, folks.
P-51 Mustangs, one book says the B-17, 726 of those, at about $276,000 a pop. Only about 13 remain flyable anywhere in the world. On the screen you see one of the early versions of the Mustang. Overhead the P-47 Thunderbolt. or so of those were built at $85,000 a piece. They were known as the Jug. If you converted that to $2006, it would be nearly $1 billion to build one today, and just a handful of those. On the landing roll, the B-25 just about ready to touch down. The B-25 was responsible for one of the most important morale victories in all of World War II. Just 4 months after that brutal attack by the Japanese on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. Then Major Jimmy Doolittle, 4 months later, on April 18th of 1942, led 79 other volunteers in 16 B-25 aircraft that took off from the aircraft carrier USS Hornet on a mission to bomb targets in Japan. It was the first time in over 2,000 years that Japan had been attacked on its own soil. While it was not a strategic victory, it did put the Japanese on notice that they were not invulnerable. The B-25s served in all theaters, but particularly in the southwest area of operations. 9,800 of those were built by North American at plants in Wichita and in California. The Boeing B-17 bomber, at $276,000 a piece, it would cost over $3,100,000 to build one today. Here comes the P-40 Warhawk once again, also known as the Tomahawk. The P-40 was flown by General Claire Chennault out of China in the early days of the war, known as the Flying Tigers. The P-51 Mustang, with a top speed of about 425 miles per hour, was known as one of the little friends. As we see that beautiful shot, the P-40 comes by, doing its banana patch. Look at that beautiful sight. And the B-25 coming by, giving it away. B-47 coming in from behind as well. But those paper drop tanks extended the range of the fighters and helped increase the survivability because they could stay with the bombers and ward off the attacks by the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe fighters, the Messerschmitt Bf-109 and the Focke-Wulf FW-190. From the right, as we listen to the P-51 and look at it. Were built. Only 13 or so remain, and you can hear the brakes squeaking as it snakes back and forth along the ramp. that air. Wright Cyclone turbocharged radial piston engine.